All right, pro wrestling here. Obviously, big thing over the last couple of days is NXT. Perhaps we may know Monday.
We will know Monday. There's going to be an announcement on Raw on Monday. So what happened on is Paul Levesque was talking to everyone, and he basically made a lot of hints, and he said things are changing, and he goes, "I want to tell you, but I can't tell you. But watch TV on Monday." And then he gave a date. "I'll see you again." Now, I was told he said September 21st. That date doesn't sound right because September 21st is like I think that's a Saturday. So I think that's wrong. I think he might have meant the 25th, or maybe he means the 11th. I don't know. But after he didn't say exactly anything, the word among the talent spread that it's going to be USA Network, and they're going to get the jump on a couple of weeks on October the 2nd. So they're not going to be, they're not going to start head to head. They're going to try to get a couple week jump, and then it's going to be USA Network and not FS1. Whatever the deal is, I think the deal is done, because I was told outright that it's, he told everyone, he goes, "I want to tell you, but I can't because it'll get out. So you're going to have to find out on Monday night on Raw like everyone else does." Then they may leak it to somebody Monday afternoon, but it certainly looks like it's USA. And there's so much to this story at that point. Obviously,
this is way bigger than FS1. Everything about it.
Yeah. Well, it's different, and it's bigger because it's on a much stronger station. So, but the whole thing is, one of the things, Vince is like so adamant that they don't lose in viewers, and with FS1 it is a big disadvantage because TNT is in more homes and is also a much higher rated station, so they would be at a disadvantage in that sense. Whereas with USA, and what I was told is that why he wanted to go to USA, it's not a money thing, but it was that it would have a better shot at not losing, because he doesn't want to lose that battle. But the feeling is that like it's better because wrestling fans are used to the USA Network. They're not used to FS1. They're UFC fans were used to FS1, but it's not a station that they're familiar with, and this and that, and that. In theory, you would think that should only mean something for 2 or 3 weeks, but it actually does mean a significant amount. Going on a station where you're used to it, and the fact that the announcement is being made on Raw would also lend credence to the fact that it's on USA Network on Wednesday. But it is Wednesday 8 to 10, and so there's there's so many different. It gives them a better, higher profile, more of an advantage. It also means that no matter what, that everyone who's thinks that like Vince is not going to get involved. It's like, yeah, exactly.
Come on.
It's like if this is on the USA Network, Vince is not being hands off on a show on the USA Network.
No, if this were on FS1, it's possible.
No, it wouldn't.
That Hunter would do a little bit for a while, and then Vince would go nuts and take over. But on USA, there is zero chance. Not in a war.
If it was just there to be there, kind of like what it is now, that'd be one thing. So the questions become, number one, how much, if any, does this hurt the WWE Network? Because aside from, the pay-per-views, NXT is the most watched show on as a general rule on that station. So does that hurt?
Well, I think what's obvious is that there needs to be, whether it be Evolve or NXT UK, there needs to be another developmental show on the WWE Network. Because this is this is on USA Network 2 hours prime time every week. This is no longer developmental. You're not calling people straight out of the Performance Center and having them do matches.
Well, you're not going to call. They're not going to call it. They're not going to do it Evolve. They're going to do another NXT.
No, well, yes. My point is, whatever it's going to be, there needs to be another place where now the people can come up for the Performance Center and learn how to be television stars. You're not going to learn that on the USA Network.
Okay, here's the problem, though. Where do you tape?
I don't know.
Because you're not going to tape at Full. The idea is to tape every Wednesday night at Full Sail at this point, not on the road. So if you're going to tape every single Wednesday night live at Full Sail, you can't be taping another show at Full Sail. You can't be doing 2 shows a week. You're not going to draw anybody, for one thing. People aren't going to come. It's going to be tough every Wednesday. I mean, it is only 400 seats, and they can give it away, and they've got college students and things like that. So I don't think it's like impossible to fill every week, but it's not going to be. It's one thing to do it once a month. It's another thing to do it every week.
My gut tells me they're going to go every other week.
I don't think they want to do that. I mean, I've heard the story that they could go every other week, but I don't think so, because the whole thing is that they don't. I think there's too much of a fear of losing in that other week. If they go every other week, I don't know that it matters, but I don't know that, there's a lot of stuff when it comes to ratings that if you study ratings, you learn that it's very clear that people in television, don't study. The key one being the whole thing about, WWE being DVR proof. I mean, because all you have to do is look at the facts, and they're anything but DVR proof. But the whole reason that Fox and not so much USA needed them. USA needed to outbid whoever, which included Fox and ESPN and other people who wanted those shows. So that's why, USA was afraid to lose them because of the ratings that it delivers. They were not going for DVR proof. Fox was 100% going for DVR proof. Friday night, DVR proof. People are going to watch it in its time slot. And they're going to, it's not. It's not any more DVR proof than any other sitcom or anything else that everyone's afraid of putting on TV, because people watch it on their own time. The wrestling fans especially, and I think even more on a Friday night, and I could be wrong about this, because, again, until we see it, we don't know. I don't think it's going to be less on a Friday night. I don't think the percentage of people who DVR it will be lower on a Friday. I think it's either going to be the same or quite a bit more. I don't know which of the two. We'll find that out, soon enough. But the idea that it's going to be what it was, SmackDown was 73.5% live now, last quarter, and these guys were buying it on the idea that it's 90. And all you got to do is study, and you'll see that it's not. But they still spent that money. But it's going to be fine there. I mean, people are thinking that it's going to bomb on Friday night, and they're going to move it and all that. And that's. I'm not saying it can't happen, because if they really, really suck, it can. But it's going to have to suck a lot worse than it does now. I mean, that is not something that I'm really that worried about. I mean, over 5 years, anything can happen in 5 years. I'm just talking because no one can predict long term. I'll just say short term. I think that the numbers aren't going to be what people expect over there after maybe week 2 or 3. I mean, week 1 will be huge, but they're still going to be good enough to where they're not moving that show off of Fox Network anytime early on. But here's the thing. Fox obviously thought they were getting the Wednesday show for FS1. And FS1 obviously, lost God knows how many hours of UFC programming, which hurts them because UFC programming was one of the strongest stuff that they had. I think NASCAR was kind of like the strongest, I think, on FS1. But UFC was very strong on FS1, and they lost all of that. And part of the deal was the idea of the money that we were going to spend on UFC, we're spending on WWE. So they had a shot at, and I mean, the thing is, if nobody had said anything, they could just kind of okay, whatever. But they told their affiliates that we're going to be getting NXT, and they're not. So that tells me that they thought strongly. So now you've got a thing of, okay, are we going to now? It wasn't okay, we've got 2 hours a week of SmackDown, and we're going to have this talk show, and we're going to have all this other stuff, all this other special programming. So we're going to be the WWE station, but they're going to have 2 hours on USA. Now all of a sudden, WWE has made it to where Fox is not the WWE Network. USA is. USA is going to have Ms. and Mrs. They're going to have the Steve Austin show. They're going to have, they're going to have 2 hours on Wednesday. They're going to have, and again, the other thing is that, how does this all affect? Because if you're going to have 2 hours on Wednesday and you're going to have 2 hours on Friday and 3 hours on Monday, I would suspect strongly that unless somehow this Friday thing leads to a boom period, and I don't think that's the case, okay? But I think that all the shows are going to be hurt a little bit because of the sheer hours. People are not going to, I think that Creatures of Habit, that Raw would probably hold up the most because it's always been on Monday, and all that. I think that and Raw will, I'm sure Raw will continue to drop unless Paul's great at what he does and will keep it steady. I mean, maybe he's going to be great, but keeping it steady is at this point, keeping it steady is a big win. It's not, if it goes up, it'd be unbelievable. But Wednesday is not a night that fans are used to watching WWE. So those ratings are not going to be super strong, and people will pick and choose.